Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, the New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
Me, Rob. Let's get the show on the road.
Oh, yes. And you may notice two things in this episode real quick here. We have a new background. This is our draft room. Oh, yes. It's nice. Got leather.
Ooh.
Nice. Oh, there we go. As I try to show the room and I lose us in the process. Very nice, though. Very nice. And the second thing is, yes, my voice is still messed up, guys. So I appreciate your patience. I know it's a little bit of a hassle listening-wise. My voice isn't the best to listen to on a regular basis, so I appreciate everybody dealing with this right now. Should be good to go in a day or two. Just still coughing a little bit there, still kind of healing up here. But we got a big episode here for you guys today. This is one we've been talking about doing for months and months and months. And it is that time, guys. We always say we don't like to do analysis of college players too quickly. We want the season to be over. We want to kind of get a little bit of information on what's going on with these guys, you know, see maybe in the combine something, so to speak. And my main thing with quarterbacks is I want to hear how they talk. I want to hear how they command the room. It's not the Underwear Olympics I care about. I couldn't give two damns about that. We'll talk about that, especially with a certain guy we're going to talk about here today. So we're going to discuss the top three quarterbacks in the class. And that's Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, and Jayden Daniels. Now, Wednesday, I should say, we will be talking about the next three, J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, and, of course, my guy, Michael Penix Jr. And I'm telling you guys this right now, one of these six will be a Giant. I'm calling it right now. One of these six will be a New York Giant. So if you don't see the importance of doing this kind of homework, you weren't paying attention to last year of quarterback play, because this is a huge, huge need. You even get just an average quarterback in this team, guys. We're probably a 9-win team last year, because there's 3 games that were so close and bad quarterback play cost us the game. That's the difference we're talking right now. 9 wins would have made us a playoff team, guys. When's the last time we were back-to-back playoff years? I can't remember. Back in the Super Bowl runs, I mean.
Yeah, but
yeah, that's how far we're talking back. We're talking 20 years almost.
Just
it's been that long. So, yeah. Let's get into it. The first guy we got here is the big name, Mr. Caleb Williams. Oh, yes. Caleb Williams, 22 years old, hails from Washington, D.C. 6'1", 215 pounds. In high school, he went to Gonzaga College High School and found success there pretty early on, being named the D.C. Gatorade Football Player of the Year in 2018 as a sophomore. That's impressive. A sophomore.
Yes.
This is Washington, D.C. we're talking about. It's not like he was in like East Bumblefuck, Alabama. Like, this is like a huge area. It's one of the biggest cities in the entire country. His team also won the WCAC championship as the best team in D.C. that year. His junior year wasn't quite as amazing, but he still was named the Washington Post All-Metropolitan First Team for the second consecutive year. His senior year was then canceled because of COVID. We had that fun time. So, obviously goes off to Oklahoma, where he started his college career. And Williams committed to Oklahoma and started as a backup to Spencer Rattler, another guy we might talk about eventually during our draft days here, because he's another guy coming out of this draft, probably the 7th best quarterback in this draft. Rattler was benched in the 4th game of the year, though, and Williams was then the starter for the rest of the season. Ended up 11 games, a 64.5% completion percentage, 1,912 yards, 21 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 79 rushes, 442 yards. It's a 5.6 yard per carry average there, 6 touchdowns, second team all Big 12. Not a bad first year. You can't expect a freshman to go in and just become the best quarterback in all of college football right off the bat. That doesn't happen. Unless you're Johnny Manziel. And considering what happened to him, I think we're okay with not having that career trajectory for most people here. So 22 though, the following season, Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma for USC to become a Trojan. So Caleb Williams followed him there and had his best season that second year. 14 games, 66.6 completion percentage, 4,537 yards, 42 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 113 rushes for 382 yards, 3.4 yards per carry average, 10 touchdowns. He even punted the ball twice, which I thought was interesting. So two punts for 84 yards. Obviously doesn't take a genius to figure the math there at 42 yards per punt average. AP College Football Player of the Year, Heisman Trophy winner, Maxwell Award, Walter Camp Award, Sporting News College Football Player of the Year, unanimous All-American, Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year, and first team All Pac-12. So, yeah, pretty much won every single award known to man that you can win as a college player. So he comes in this year with tons of hype, tons of expectations, because look what he did his sophomore year. His junior year must be better, right? Nope. So USC went just 8-5 this year, guys. That's not good. 12 games, 68.6 completion percentage, 3,633 yards, 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So not bad numbers, but not as good as the one before. His rushing totals, that's what really was like, whoa. 97 rushes for 142 yards. That's a 1.5 yard per carry average, guys. 11 touchdowns. So we did do good in touchdown part at least. So the big question is, what happened in 2023? Was he missing having the elite receiver he had in 22? Because keep in mind, Jordan Addison, who was the Blindekoff winner, is the best wide receiver before he got there the year before when he was still in Pitt, but still like a top flight receiver for him when USC. Now he's a Viking last year. He didn't have a top receiver, but he still had his second and third best receiver from the previous year, and that's Taj Washington and Brendan Rice. So Washington is a very small slot receiver, projected to be a day 3 pick. So he's still an NFL caliber player, so not a scrub. Brendan Rice, you may have heard of his father, Jerry. Yes, that Jerry Rice. He's projected to be a day 2 pick as well, who's probably going to be like a second receiver for an NFL team. So, yeah, not scrubs around him, but didn't have that elite receiver, and it wasn't the same thing there.
Yeah, so he didn't have that super Megatron, if you will.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting is 21 of his 30 touchdowns were through the first 5 weeks of the season. So, yeah, that's a pretty crazy compacting in the beginning there. Now, he had 5 more in weeks 9 and 10. So in 7 games, he had 26 of his 30 touchdowns. Just 4 touchdowns the other 5.
Yeah, it's terrible.
That's not good, guys. So my question, and I'd love to find the answer on this, is was there perhaps an injury we were unaware of that slowed him down? Because that's definitely possible. Same as the NFL and college football. They don't always announce injuries. Why would I give you a target? But the other thing is, if you look at the games he was playing there, some of those games where he didn't have touchdowns were against the better defenses he faced. Keep in mind the Pac-12, which we have 3 out of the 6 top QBs are coming out of this Pac-12. So it's going to be a theme here to hear quite often. They're weak defenses. These aren't defenses. This isn't the SEC. These are guys that are known for high-flying offensive attacks. That's what the Pac-12 is. It's not the place you go typically if you want to be the top edge group in the draft, or if you want to be a nose tackle, or if you want to be a receiver, a quarterback, a running back. Pac-12. That's where you look. So he also had this season 4 games with negative rushing yards, anywhere between 7 and 13 attempts in each of those games as well. So it's just there's a few things just off this year about him. Really was. Now, one thing I like to look at whenever I'm doing an analysis on a prospect of any kind is I want to see what they did against the better defenses they faced. Because let's be very frank here. The quarterbacks in college aren't facing the same quality of defenses they will face in the NFL.
Not in the least.
But if I can look at how they did against the better defenses, that gives you a telltale sign, so to speak. Was there a huge drop off? How did they do against these guys? And yeah, this wasn't good, guys. You know, I talked about Caleb Williams in the show before, and I said I don't want the Giants to get him. I could not be more positive on that after doing a deep dive in this guy. So, 2023, the best defenses in the Pac-12 that he faced were UCLA and Oregon. Against UCLA, he was 31 of 42. So that's a 73.8 completion percentage, 384 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 7 rushes for negative 20 yards. Wouldn't call it a good day.
No.
Good completion percentage.
Which is nice, but when you're talking about 384 yards and
1 touchdown.
With 1 touchdown, it's it's playing from behind ball.
Against Oregon, where they have their trail and their dysentery. 19 of 34, 55.9 completion percentage, 291 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, 8 rushes, negative 11 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown.
Sounds like he got ducked.
Not a good day. Now, I also looked at the top 25 defenses. He's only faced 2 top 25 defenses at his time in UCLA, 1 this year, 1 last year. So last year, this is his best year, keep in mind. This is his Heisman year. This is his I'm the best quarterback, I'm the best player in all of college football year. Against Notre Dame, 23 of 47. It's a 62.2 completion percentage. 199 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, 13 rushes, negative 2 yards. Yeah, not good, guys. His best defense he faced. Actually, I'm sorry. That was this year.
I was about to say.
Yeah, that was this year. The best defense he faced last year in his top form there was Oregon State. The Beavers. It was 16 of 36. It's a 44.4 completion percentage, 180 yards, 1 touchdown, 9 rushes for 27 yards. These aren't stellar numbers, guys. These aren't.
No, I'm joking around saying got beef to get ducked, but like you said, majority of these teams, if they were going to play an NFL team, would not look as good as a defense as they do in college. Like, let's just say what it is, because 1, NFL is the next level.
Yeah, and you also got to continue the fact that the supporting cast around you is better in the NFL than it is in college as well. So
yeah, 100%. So to have your, this player that really wants you to be the piece that's going to move you forward, not being able to handle good defenses. It's not like we're going to go play Carolina every game. It's not like we're going to go play, insert terrible defense.
Giants.
Yeah, Giants. Definitely rough there.
All right. Let's get into some of the pros and cons, because, guys, there's definitely pros. I'm not saying that he's not a good player. I'm saying I don't think he's this generational talent people think he is.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of talent in this guy. It's just
he's not Andrew
Luck. Was he overhyped?
Hugely. Hugely. Here's the pros. Great arm. Uses mobility to extend the plays, not to run. We talked about that. We talked about it months ago. It's one of the nice things he does is he doesn't look to run the ball. He's more like Patrick Mahomes in the fact that he moves around to extend the play so a receiver can get open. That's not saying he's Patrick Mahomes, though, because I've heard that analogy a lot with him. We'll get into that more later.
You've seen him like run out of the pocket and then run back to the pocket to extend the play, which is pretty like a lot of guys don't have that football IQ to use the defenders again
Oh yeah.
They just run out to get away from the defense, and then either run the ball or throw the ball. But to circle back around to extend the play, that's something else.
Oh yeah. See, makes highlight real plays. That's always fun. Listen, if you're a marketing team, you're gonna love having this guy.
Oh yeah.
Seriously. It's like when OBJ was on there, people just showing the shirts of him with the one hands and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's what you're gonna get with this guy. He goes through his reads very well as well. So he will literally look down the field and go boop, 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 boop. Like he can do that processing real quick. That's one of the things we talked about with Daniel Jones. You can't teach that. You either can or can't do that. You either have the mental capabilities to do that or you don't. Flat out. So onto the cons. Keeps the ball too long, which leads to sacks and fumbles. He had 16 fumbles this past season, guys. 16 fumbles. Again, he played 12 games. That's like Daniel Jones' numbers there when he was having his fumble issues. And Tiki Barber thrown together. That's it's really bad. We talked about it before. Didn't play against good defenses often and failed when he did. He's got to go in that con section. Slightly underweight. So again, we said he is 6'1", 215 pounds. I'd like to see another 10 pounds added to him. It's not to say
that's what I say. It's that to me. It's a con right now, but it's something that's not going to worry. He's going to go meet with athletic coaches. He's going to meet with the strength and condition coaches.
Oh yeah,
and he'll put that way on for the season.
USC didn't have any of those.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, there's different workouts, different diets.
I love when people say that. Oh, he can gain the weight in the NFL. Like what? College wouldn't allow him to? Or was he starving on his $2 million he made in NIL deals? Like seriously?
I mean, he's also younger.
I hear you. I'm just saying.
You have more time, and then your early to later 20s is when it's easier to put on actual muscle mass compared to like.
Wait to get your 40s. It's really easy to put on weight then.
Oh, mass. That's a little different than muscle mass.
Let's talk about the personality issues. And I say that in kind of quotation marks here too as well, because I think a lot of the hate on him, honestly, is unfair. I have issues with him as a player. I don't have all the issues on him necessarily as a person. So everyone mentions his nail polish and the fact that he wore some kind of like skirt outfit or whatever at a photo shoot. I couldn't care less. Why do I care? I'm paying you to throw a goddamn football and lead a team. That does not prevent you from doing that.
No. But I think you might have more mobility in the dress.
The airflow is better when you play the Florida games.
Yeah. The cooling system.
The one thing I will say I am concerned with, we've talked about it before on the show, is we had it in the video here when we started talking about him, is the crying in his mommy's lap after a game. Like you're supposed to be a leader of men. You can't do that. I'm sorry, you can't. Like I feel like the chauvinist old guy when I say that, but
Sonny, back in my day, you just went home, you drank bourbon, and you swallowed your feelings down. You never showed them.
You can't go sobbing into your mom's lap. I'm sorry. That's too much. That's taking it too far. You can cry. You can show emotion. You can do that with your team. You can't go jump into the stands and cry in your mom's lap. It's not allowed. Yeah. You're not 5 years old, guys. That's
well, like we've said before, you're allowed to cry, but like the fact you're jumping in your mom's lap, that's not what a leader does. The leader's not jumping in anyone else's lap. They're the ones that should be holding the other players while they cry. So it's like,
or crying together.
Yeah,
like he purposely went away from his team to do that. Like that to me is not a leader skill. That's not.
No.
I also have concerns with his father. So his father is in charge of his team, so to speak, as opposed to having a legit person with knowledge of the NFL. He doesn't have an actual NFL agent and all that kind of stuff set up. You need
that'll change.
You need that. I know your dad's probably helped you out when you were in high school and college. You're in a different world now. And every time I see that kind of stuff happen, it seems like, for the most part, unless you get like a lawyer involved that understands the complexities of the language of the deals, it just slows it down. It makes it more of a hassle for everybody. So
that and players get screwed because they trust in someone that doesn't have the knowledge of what to actually do. Yeah.
Now we got to talk about the combine and him too. There's a lot of issues with him and the combine people had for some reason. I don't know why. I could not care. This goes in the I could not care less policy here. So you didn't throw at the combine. Who cares? I got 3 years of tape to watch. The underwear Olympics does not affect me. I'm sorry, but it's not. Oh, the combine can solidify what you already thought. It should never change your opinion.
Are we some guys that blow out at the combine and go up in the draft because of it?
Yes.
So I wouldn't necessarily say it shouldn't change, but it should showcase what you got and also your health.
Oh yeah. So we also had, of course, the issue of, he didn't want to give up his medical. So I don't think people are aware on how the medical stuff goes when you're in the combine. You basically go into a room with 32 doctors. They all are asking you questions like a press conference, giving all your medical information to these guys. This guy's going to be the number 1 overall pick, guys. Right or wrong, and I personally think it's wrong, he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. So why would he give that information and deal with that kind of stuff with 32 teams when, as of right now, only a handful of teams will have a shot at him?
I believe he said he's met with 3 teams because he responded. It's like, like 3 teams. They know his medical. No one else.
Giants were 1, by the way. Giants were 1.
Yeah. He goes, I disclosed the medical to the teams I think I'm going to. No one else needs to know. Because at the end of the day, too, it's kind of reason why this thing called HIPAA laws went into place. Like, you don't have to disclose all your medical details.
But it's, like I said, a lot of it to me is also, again, it's the experience. Why would I want to sit there with 32 doctors asking me questions when, 28 of these doctors have their teams have no shot of getting me? Why am I putting up with that? Why am I dealing with that bullshit?
Yeah.
There's no point.
Like I said, he's the number 1 overall. The people that need to know his medical, they know it already.
Exactly.
And it's probably more of like a personal, like, hey, let's sit down. Let's go over this. Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, to me, the whole thing is just a little crazy here. Let's get into, we're going to give our final verdict when we think of him. Do me a favor, guys. Go in the comments section. Pop what you think. Want to hear what you guys think as well. I know Mark's already in there with his thoughts. Final verdict that I'm giving here, and Rob, you can agree, disagree. Let's see where you're at with him. I think he's more Kyler Murray than he is Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be a star of this league, and he'll flash brilliance at times. But overall will not be elite. His highest ceiling still he's the highest ceiling still in this draft. Definitely 100%. But the floor should not be ignored because we're seeing the issues when he goes against good defenses. And I can't ignore that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong what you're saying. And actually, I was a little bit more harsher because I think his ceiling's, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be something that people talk for the next half century of how great football that he puts out, as long as he stays healthy and has a long career.
Mm-hmm.
So to compare him to Patrick Mahomes before he makes it into the NFL, I think it's a little absurd. I think his ceiling's more, and it's also not fair, but I think it's more like Josh Allen. Josh Allen knows how to extend plays. He's got a good arm strength. He can run around, extend the arms as well. He's not quite Patrick Mahomes, but can Cleveland win you a ring? Probably not. I also think his floor is more like a Justin Fields compared to a Kyler Murray, because Kyler Murray at least.
Well, no, I'm not saying Kyler Murray's his floor. I think that's the comparison of what he's going to have. What I'm just saying is I think people look at this guy like a short fire thing, like he's going to be a definite star, definite, people are already saying if he goes to Chicago, he'll be the Michael Jordan of the Bears. Like, no. First off, Walter Payton is the Michael Jordan of the Bears. Shut your mouth.
And never listen to Bear fans, because every year they draft someone and they say it's the next coming of whoever.
Oh, yeah. Mitch Trubisky. They're still hoping.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see here. Mark says Caleb is not going to make it in New York. I hope the Giants are not on the clock with him as an option and make the mistake of taking him. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll pay for what it takes to get him, to be honest.
Yeah.
Deb says big no to Caleb for Giants. Mark says 100% spot on. So, all right. So it seems like they're on the same page with us here. Let's get to quarterback number 2 here, guys. And quarterback number 2 hails from McCourt, much like Petey Pablo, North Carolina. Oh, yes. Am I the only one that feels really old, by the way, when you see these pictures of these kids with no helmets on?
I know, he's such a baby face.
It's like, dude, it's almost 10 o'clock. It's way too late for you to be up. Go to bed.
Yeah. It was a Channel 11 news. It's 10 o'clock. You know where your children are.
Yeah. He's in college. No one knows where he's at. Let's be honest. He's wherever he wants to be. So Drake Maye, 21 years, from Charlotte, North Carolina. So he's a local boy. 6'4", 230 pounds. Played high school football at Myers Park High School, where he was named North Carolina's Football Player of the Year by Max Prep. Maye originally committed to Alabama before changing his mind and playing at North Carolina. Yeah, he's got an interesting career here, and I think this is the guy that I probably have the hardest job of trying to figure out my thoughts on, and we've talked about this before as well. It's the competition he plays. I can't get past some of that, guys. So we're going to do our best to give you that, but we're going to also take some of these stats in with a grain of salt because he's playing lesser talent than everybody else we're going to talk about in these next 2 days. It's 100% the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about what I think when we get to the spots where we talk about his pros and cons. But sometimes you got good talent that goes to, not as good as schools, but still play well in the NFL. So
you mentioned Josh Allen before. I mean, Josh Allen went to Wyoming. I wouldn't call that a powerhouse school.
No, but I'm just saying, he's from North Carolina. He went to college in North Carolina. He didn't go to Alabama, probably because he's a homeboy.
We've got great experiences with quarterbacks in North Carolina. I mean, Dave Brown, Daniel Jones. What can go wrong?
Yeah. You never know until you try.
We tried twice. We're good. So freshman year, he redshirted, but he did still appear in 4 games, which is the max you can in a redshirt season. Starter Sam Howell got hurt. Name might ring a bell there for you guys. So he had a splitting time with Jacoby Criswell. So 4 games, 7 of 10 passing, 89 yards, 1 touchdown, 6 rushes for 62 yards. Obviously not a lot to go based on there. 22, though. Sam Howell leaves for the NFL. So Maye and Criswell got to battle it out for the starting spot. It was said to be very close, but Maye won. During the season, he would go on to break single-season school records for passing yards and touchdowns. He was also the team's leading rusher, finished 10th in Heisman voting, and the team went 9-5 and lost to Oregon in the Holiday Bowl by just 1 point. Let's be honest, Oregon's a much better roster than North Carolina. Let's not even try to front otherwise and say otherwise because, it's not even close, guys. 14 games, 66.2 completion percentage, 4,321 yards, 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 148 rushes for 698 yards. That's a 3.8 yard per carry average, 7 touchdowns. ACC Rookie of the Year, first team All ACC, ACC Offensive Player of the Year, ACC Player of the Year. So, a lot of awards. A lot of awards, guys. And then we get into the issue that he has the same issue that Caleb Williams has. Comes into this year, all hyped up, and doesn't have as quite a good a year. Now, there were changes in North Carolina. Obviously, he lost his top receiver as well in Josh Downs, who got drafted as well, but not that Downs was the same quality of receiver as, Caleb lost because Jordan Addison's just a freaking beast, but it's still, you lost your top receiver. So Now, Chip Lindsey also is the OC with former OC Phil Longo leaving for Wisconsin. Something about enjoying cheese and a good charcuterie board. So May started off the season very well. And Omarion Hampton developed into a great back for the Tar Heels as well, which helped take some of the load off of May. But he struggled down the stretch. And they lost 4 of the last 6 games this season. So the team ended up 8-4 and made the Mayo Bowl, which May elected to sit out for and not play because draft. 12 games, 63.3 completion percentage, 3,608 yards, 24 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 112 rushes, 449 yards, 4 yards per carry average there, 9 touchdowns, and another guy who punts occasionally, apparently. 1 punt for 45 yards in the season, too. Second team All-ACC. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the ACC. But again, the ACC is not the offensive powerhouse that the Pac-12 is. The ACC is not the overall powerhouse the SEC or the Big 12 or, some of these other conferences are. If you can't even be first team All-ACC, I'd have a little bit of a question mark there if I go to get you a second overall pick.
Yeah.
That's part of where my issues come into, is you played mostly crap teams, guys. Mostly crap teams. I mean, literally, we're going to go over the game log, same as we did with Caleb Williams here. One of his best defenses he faced was Duke. Duke. Like, Duke is not a powerhouse team. Ask Daniel Jones. That's how bad it was. And he beat the hell out of the bad teams.
Which he should.
Yeah. And, didn't do bad against the good teams. But I didn't see that signature win.
Yeah.
And that's what stops me from being confident in this guy overall. Here's what he did against top defenses. So Clemson, 16 of 36, 44.4 completion percentage. Not very good there, obviously. 209 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 10 rushes for 67 yards. Not bad in the rushing. Passing, not very good. Against Duke,
No.
28 of 43, 65.1 completion percentage, 342 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 12 rushes, 22 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, not bad yardage-wise, but not I crushed it day.
Yeah, it's also not a terrible day overall.
No.
We're playing against a better team, but
it's also Duke.
Also,
I had to struggle to find a third team to put on this list.
Yeah.
I almost put the Camels on he faced. He did face the Camels.
He got camel toed.
He beat the Camel Toes. Then Miami. He did face the Hurricanes as well. 17 of 33. It's a 51.5 completion percentage. 273 yards, 3 touchdowns, 10 rushes, 10 yards. Not bad in the touchdowns, but very low completion percentage. Not doing much with the legs. Like I said, I don't have enough data on him against really good teams. And that's the problem I look at there. So
Correct.
what it really boils down to is, how polished is he? How much room for improvement is there? And I actually think there's a lot of room for improvement.
Yes. I was going to say he's a very coachable player. You can even see with through the year as he changed schemes and as he changed the way he played through the years, especially last year, like when he was getting outside the pocket a little bit.
Can't do Kenny Rogers with his voice.
You can see that he was a little confused, wasn't sure what to do. But as the game progressed, he got more comfortable in the pocket, stepped into the pocket. What game was that? Was that I'm thinking of? But he definitely improved on the spot, which means he can be coached under pressure, which means he can be coached even better when he's not under pressure, which means you definitely can't do Freddie Mercury either.
I can't do anything. It's also David Bowie.
Under pressure. It's actually both of them.
That's what I said. It's both of them.
Yeah.
So here's we got the pros and cons here. So pros, great pocket mobility. He allows for great ball control with speed. What I mean by that is, when you look at some of his plays, he has the perfect amount of touch on it. It's a fastball when it has to be. Obviously, we use some baseball terms here. It's a changeup when it's got to be. It's an in between when it's got to be. I mean, he's got that kind of abilities, and he's got prototypical NFL size. Again, I know he looks like he just graduated from Cub Scouts here, but 6'4", 230 pounds. That's a big boy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm bigger, but I'm weird.
It's like he stayed in North Carolina and worked the farm or something.
Yep, working those cow food. We're the cornfields, tipping cows over. Here's the cons. Needs to work on his lower body mechanics. That's one of the biggest things. His legs are all over the place. His upper body is amazingly done, perfect, precise, and that's why he's able to throw the way he can throw. His lower body needs work.
Yes.
He holds on to the ball way too long. And he's also a risk taker.
Yeah, he tries to play hero ball a little bit.
Yeah.
Which in NFL, it's hard to do if you're not going to be.
I can be your hero, baby.
I could take away your pain.
It's all right. Even Julio Iglesias can't do Julio Iglesias, so therefore it's okay. He's such a bad singer. It's still all over my TikTok. His bad concerts.
That's amazing.
So this is the guy, I tell you, out of all the 6 guys we talk about, this is the guy who would benefit the most from a redshirt year.
Yeah.
I really think if he went to a team like the Giants, hypothetically, I'm not advocating to get him. I'm just saying, using it as an example, that we can have Daniel Jones start the season. Let him sit, develop, and not rush him in. I think that's what's best for him. I think if you throw him to the wolves right off the bat when he's not ready, you're going to ruin him. You're going to ruin him point blank.
No, I agree. That's a perfect thing because he's young. He's 21.
Yeah,
he's got time to develop to be a very good player. You put him, so to say, hypothetically, Jets get him. He sits behind Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully, he doesn't learn his pompousness, but he learns to play the quarterback position from one of the best. That he will be a Hall of Famer. If you're a Hall of Famer, I just use that as an example. You got a quarterback that's up there in years. It's going to be one of the best that it's not going to be there long. You're right.
Yeah, Jordan Love and him got a great relationship.
Hey, but listen, Jordan Love didn't look so bad this year.
He didn't
look fantastic. I'm just saying, you in a scenario. I was just using Aaron Rodgers because he's not going to be around long, and Jets across. It's right down the road.
Yes.
Different locker room.
Yes. Same building.
Yep.
All right. So before we give our final verdicts here, guys, again, same thing. If you haven't already, let's pop it in the comments section. Let's hear what you guys have to say on Drake Maye here. So for my final verdict, I'm giving 2 different players. One is a floor, one is a ceiling. His ceiling to me is Justin Herbert. That's where I have him at. Good thrower, great arm, a little bit of mobility, but not going to be your guy's going to run all over the place like Lamar Jackson. His floor is Daniel Jones. That's what I see him as. That's the floor. A guy that's a guy who can not embarrass himself at times in the field, but never excel, which is what Daniel Jones is. Let's be honest. Daniel Jones is a low-end starter to a high-end backup.
Yeah, listen, you're not wrong with say that. I thought he played a little bit more like Trevor Lawrence, like his style. Granted, I think he could go into a lot of different schemes, but I had Trevor Lawrence as kind of like his ceiling coming out. Yeah, he's got a lot of hype behind him, and I also went a little meaner there and said he's more like a Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz, okay.
A guy that had a lot of hype coming out and can't find the field anywhere.
So is he mentally weak, do you think? Because that's Carson Wentz's thing. Like, he was good until all of a sudden his confidence was just shot and he was just gone.
I'm just saying the lack of play. He never came back from that the injury. After, granted, he won the Super Bowl, but he wasn't the starting quarterback.
No, ask any Eagle fan. They'll tell you really quickly.
Big Dick Nick.
The tale of Nick Foles, the folk hero.
Yep. Still known around the Philly area. Big Dick Nick.
Let's see. Mark says Drake May, I'm intrigued, but still on the fence with him for value, not at 6. Deb says lukewarm on Drake May, not at 6.
He's not going to make it.
Mark says for this year's talent at QB, value is in round 2 with Nix and Penix. Connor says agreed and says, but I take Drake May over Daniels personally if we move up.
Listen,
well, that's fun.
It's a very good quarterback class this year.
It is.
Of people coming out. If Cleve was not in this class, Drake May would be number 1 and most people's boards without a doubt.
Oh yeah.
So he's
still number 1 on some people's boards.
Yeah. So
he's number 2 in mine.
Who does number 2 work for?
Depends. We'll find out the draft day.
Touche.
But yeah, we got one more guy to go into here, guys, which I'm gonna tell you right now. This is my number 1 guy on my draft board. Oh yes. You notice there was no crying to his mama in that one. His mama was buying plane tickets for his teammates instead. That's a whole other thing. It's a whole other thing. We're going to get into that in a minute. So, Jayden Daniels, 23 years old, from San Bernardino, California, which I think is where they shot The Price is Right. Isn't that where? I want to say that sounds so familiar. For some reason.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, like one of those. Live from San Bernardino, California. 6'4", 210 pounds. Played high school at Cajun High School in San Bernardino, not Louisiana. You would think Louisiana with that name.
Right.
He was a 4-star recruit and ranked 2nd in the nation for dual threat quarterbacks in the 2019 class. Goes off to Arizona State, starts there with Herm Edwards and our buddy Antonio Pierce back then as well. So he was a starter as a true freshman. In that season, the Sun Devils had upset wins against multiple ranked opponents, including number 6 Oregon. The team finished 8-5 and won the Sun Bowl. On the season, 12 games, 60.7 completion percentage, 2,943 yards, 17 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 125 rushes for 355 yards. That's a 2.8 yard per carry average, and 3 touchdowns. Honorable mention, Pac-12 Freshman Offensive Player of the Year. Not a bad season. I wish I would say that it was, the start of something nice there in Arizona State, but that's probably the highlight of his Arizona State career. 2020, the season gets shortened because of COVID. Ends with a 2-2 record there. In that 2-2 record, 4 games, 58.3 completion percentage, 701 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, 33 rushes. 223 yards, 6.8 yard per carry average, and 4 touchdowns. So, yeah, very good season in that little bit of stretch we saw. But now we get into the issues. Prior to the 21 season, it was announced Arizona State program was under investigation for improper recruiting, including Jayden Daniels' mom paying for more than $1,100 in flights for recruits. Yeah, that's very much against the rules.
Yeah. Bribe much?
Now the question is, was she the intermediary or was she paying for the flights? I don't know. I never heard the final result in that whole thing.
No.
Let me put it this way. Jayden Daniels never got suspended. So, yeah, I'm not going to blame him for this.
Yeah, if he never got suspended and you never heard anything, it was probably a mistake and no one wanted to bring it back up.
Yeah. So Arizona State had a decent season that year, 8-5, but Daniels definitely struggled to throw the ball that season. 13 games, 65.4 completion percentage, 2,381 yards, 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 128 rushes, 710 yards at the 5.1 yards per carry average, and 6 touchdowns. And he moves on. He's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Too much BS here at Arizona State. Goes off to LSU. And first year at LSU in 22, the team goes 10-4. 14 games, 68.6 completion percentage, 2,913 yards, 17 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 186 rushes for 885 yards. It's a 4.8 yard per carry average and 11 rushing touchdowns. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But this year, a whole nother level, guys. A whole nother level. 12 games, 72.2 completion percentage, 3,812 yards, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 135 rushes for 1,135 rushing yards. It's 8.4 yards per carry average, 10 touchdowns. Heisman Trophy winner, Walter Camp Award, AP College Football Player of the Year, Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, Davey O'Brien Award, Manning Award, SN Player of the Year, Consensus All-American, SEC Offensive Player of the Year, and First Team All-ACC. First Team All-SEC.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And there's a lot to like looking at this tape. Now, here's the beauty of it, guys. It's the SEC. He played legit talent.
Legit talent looking pretty damn good. So, and there's a lot of tape of him looking pretty damn good. So,
yeah, so let's go to the game logs here. Top defenses he faced. And there's a lot. There's a lot of good. I did the same I did with the guys there, top 3. But guys, this is the SEC he faced. I can go top 10. It's probably the 10 are all tougher than what they face in the Pac-12. It's that legitimate difference. Versus Florida, he was 17 of 26. So that's a 65.4 completion percentage, 372 yards, 3 touchdowns, 12 rushes, 234 yards rushing, and 2 rushing touchdowns. I would say it's pretty dominant.
yeah.
That's dominant. Against Alabama. Roll Tide.
Bama.
Out of freaking Bama. 15 to 24. 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 11 rushes, 163 yards, 1 touchdown. Again, I'd say it's pretty dominant. Against Missouri, 15 to 21, 71.4 completion percentage, 259 yards, 3 touchdowns, 15 rushes for 130 yards. I'd say it's pretty dominant.
Yeah.
So, again, maybe I don't look at this right. There's many different ways to look at this, but I love to judge, especially quarterbacks, and what they do against these top teams. And when these top teams went against him, they all failed miserably.
I was going to say, he still played like a top quarterback's what he did compared to the other two that we just talked about that pretty much kind of fell off the wagon. 8
touchdowns, 1 interception those 3 games.
That's so solid.
Yeah. On top of that, over 130 rushing yards in each of the 3 games. Yeah.
Yeah. With the 3 rushing touchdowns, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, that's legit. I mean, he dominated these teams. And like I said, it's one thing to dominate the ACC and dominate the Camels. It's a whole other thing to dominate the weak defenses in the Pac-12. You dominating the best teams in football, point blank. This is the closest you get to the NFL.
Yeah.
When you play
these guys
SEC.
that he faced will be getting drafted.
Yeah. These are teams that are backups get drafted sometimes.
Yeah.
That's legit. Now, again, they're not as good as an NFL defense is, but it's the closest thing you can look at. So let's go into the pros and cons here. Pros, great arm, great legs, dominated the SEC this year, and throws well in the run. His cons, lightweight. So we talked about this again. 6'4", perfect weight. 210 pounds.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a little light. He needs to add probably 15, 20 pounds.
yeah, 6'4", yeah, probably 20, 25 pounds, which is very, very doable. Even though we just talked about Drake May, but I mean with Cleve, but like it's very doable for his size with that frame. There's a lot of room for growth.
Oh yeah, he looks very stick figure. His room.
Yeah.
Does not avoid contact enough when running. So my main issue with that is, first off, remember Aaron Rodgers when he first started playing, and he would get hit nonstop. He'd get, hurt during the games. He'd still play because he's Aaron Rodgers to what he did, but he had to learn as he got older to stop taking the hits because it helped make him a better player throughout the game. That's that's the issue we're looking at with him. And you put that combo of his small size and taking all these hits, that's a bad combo in the NFL.
Yeah,
he needs to slide. He needs to slide. A little slide, slippity slide.
Just give it a big old slip and slide. That's how you should practice. Just try and slip and slide.
Just listen. I always say, if you want to learn how to slide, call up John Elway. That was the man, the best slider ever.
Didn't they bring in a coach for stealing baseball, stealing bases in baseball for Mark Sanchez?
They did that also for Daniel Jones because he had all his fumble issues with taking hits.
This is true.
So, also has issues when the pocket collapses. He's quick to run and make bad decisions in the scenario. Now, that's something you just have to learn with time. I mean, people either good at that or not, and I feel like he's somebody's going to need a decent offensive line.
Yes.
Because he makes those issues. And listen, if you got a player like that, you want to protect him anyway. So you'd be stupid not to put a good offensive line around him. The other thing is, how much of his success was his receivers this year? So for those who are unaware, Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. are his top receivers this year. Those two guys are both first-round picks. Malik Neighbors is the top 10 pick easy. He's Brian Thomas will probably go in the 20s. So that's part of what you look at as well. Is this why he was all of a sudden a much better thrower? Because I will say this, I think some of the throws he made were not spot on, and the guys were able to reel them in. They weren't the worst throws I've seen in the world, but he has some good receivers to reel them in. Now, if you look at the two after those two, the receiver core was crap.
Yeah, it was actually
impressive. They would drop the ball. They would not get open very often.
Yeah, I feel like his deep ball throws were way more accurate than his short to mid range.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
100% there, 100% there. So, all right. So same as the last two guys. Before we get into the final verdict here, I want you guys to put in the comment section. What do you think? And if you're not watching it live, even still put it afterwards here. Honestly, hear everybody says.
Yeah.
But he had by far his best season in 24 in the toughest conference in all of football. The key question I have is, why did it take for his fifth year for this to happen? And again, how much of that success was because of those two receivers? My comp, though, is Lamar Jackson with the better arm. I think he's going to be that kind of guy. I think he's going to be a run first kind of quarterback that's going to be both way thread, dual thread. And I think he's going to have the same issues. If you look at Lamar Jackson, he's a good deep thrower, has had some issues with the intermediate, has some issues in general with some of the receivers he's worked with. I really think that he's going to be that kind of quarterback. That being said, I think he's a top prospect in this draft. If I had the number one pick and I'm Chicago, I'm not taking Caleb Williams. I'm taking this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree because I actually said the same thing. Lamar Jackson, he's got that presence, like he's got a little bit more arm strength behind him compared to Lamar, I think, coming out of college. He's definitely got the running technique. It's his size is his biggest thing. But yeah, he could be the next Lamar Jackson, or he could be the next Tyrod Taylor. But
yeah, Tyrod Taylor is probably a good floor for him. But I think he's going to be a legit quarterback this week. I do.
But I'm saying I would with my around the ceiling where he could be, what I think he could be, and what I think his floor could be.
All right, let's see here. Deb says, love Daniels, but I don't think there's a chance we'll land him. We'd have to trade him. We'd have to, point blank, we'd have to trade up. And we'd have to give away the farm to get him. But I'm all for that because if we do that, you must think this guy is that good, first off. Make the trade if you're not confident in the quarterback you're going to get. Second, we're probably not picking 6 again next year. I'm hoping we're actually much better. And on top of that, it's not as good a quarterback draft next year. You have to take the chance when you get it, or else you end up in quarterback purgatory, where you have a good team but no quarterback, like the Falcons, the Broncos. These kind of players, these kind of teams that just can't get over that hump because they don't have somebody to sling the rock. My lovely quarterback hump. So you need a good quarterback to succeed in this league. There's no way around it. So if you don't have it, it doesn't matter what else you have. Go get your quarterback.
Definitely not wrong.
Connor says we could if they like him and move up, Deb. But I think it's going to be trade out a picks or a wide receiver or defensive end. No, we're going to give up a ton of picks to get whoever we get. I'm telling you right now. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if we make a move. I think the move we make, if it's available, is with – I keep on hearing the Patriots want to move out of 3. And the rumor I'm hearing is they like J.J. McCarthy a lot. And they think they could trade down, get J.J. McCarthy, and then get the extra picks from whoever they trade down with. I mean, let's be honest. If they like J.J. McCarthy, they should trade down. He's not a 3rd overall pick. We'll get to him on Wednesday. But if a team like us wants whoever the 3rd quarterback left is, whether it's Maye or Daniels, we make that kind of move, and they still get the guy they want. It's a win-win for both teams. Yeah. So, Deb says top 3 teams will not trade if they believe he is their quarterback of the future, and they shouldn't. Agreed. That's what it's all about there. Mark says, I bet Drew and Rob's money he's not 210 pounds, and that's why he didn't want to get measured. Well, don't bet our money. We don't have enough to bet.
Yeah.
We have bills to pay. Unless you want to go to buymeacoffee.com/2 Giant Goofballs.
You can bet with that money right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll be right there. Damn mirrored images.
Alrighty, guys. So that's our 3 quarterbacks here for today. So again, tomorrow we're going to break down J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., and Bo Nix and complete the top 6 quarterbacks here in this trade and in this draft. I mean, if we can, and maybe we'll try to sneak a little Spencer Rattler in. I actually think he's a better player than some people think, but we're going to try. I don't want to have the episode be too long. I don't want to be the episode be too long. I like Rattler a lot. I think, again, he's not a guy that I think is going to be a good player in this league, but I think he's that low-end starter, high-end backup kind of player. And there's a value to that. Yeah. There really is. Especially on a rookie contract that you're going to get like the 3rd round. There's a real big value in that. All right, let's pay the bills real quick, and then we're going to go into the news.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2 Giant Goofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. Buymeacoffee.com/2 Giant Goofballs.
Oh, yes. Let's break into the news here. It's time for the Giants news.
It's time for the news.
All righty. So first up, Rich Eisen. This became the story of the last hour. All of a sudden, everybody's going crazy in this one. Rich Eisen said, the Giants are absolutely done with Daniel Jones. The words I hear at the combine multiple times were buyer's remorse. So I know a lot of people were like, oh, well, they might look at options, but they still like Daniel Jones. No, they don't, guys. I've been saying this for a while, too. I don't think they do. Now, will they force a pick? I don't think they'll force it. I don't think they'll force it. They look at they got Daniel Jones if they need him. Don't have to force it. Yeah. But they're going to do everything in their damn power to get a top-flight quarterback in here. I'm telling you right now. They're going to do it. They understand the need. They understand the issue. So, in other news, Giants released Mark Glowinski. We talked about that as a definite going to happen, and guess what? It happened. Shocker. Here's speaking of shockers. Darren Waller is considering retirement. Apparently, he's tired of being hurt. Apparently, and now he's hurt. He's emotionally hurt about being physically hurt, and he's just thinking about hanging up. And listen, if he hangs it up, for the record, cap wise, it's the same as if we cut him. We save like $6.7 million against the cap. We pay him another like $5 million and change, whatever it is at that point. I got the over the cap number up, but it's like ridiculous. We paying him for what he did last year, basically. Absolutely ridiculous. I'd be pretty upset just based on that alone, to be honest.
Yeah.
You came here, you got traded here. We expected you to play, do your thing. Because I still think there's a lot in the tank for him still. I really do. I think he needs to go ahead and, kind of get some of his stuff in gear overall as far as the health thing. I think he's trying. But I think in the end, even if he plays half the games, he's still better than most tight ends in this league, guys. So I'm hoping we get one more year out of him because I don't think we're going to gain that much in cap space to make it worthwhile. Who are we going to replace him with for $6 million? All we're doing is creating another need. That's it. So we shall see, though. Let's see. Giants have hired former Patriots special team coordinator Cam Accord as an assistant. He was their special team coordinator for the last 4 seasons. So good to get a experienced guy in there at that point there. Another experienced guy because special teams, we know, have been an issue the last couple of years.
And the Patriots have done it well. So
yes.
Let's take from the best.
I just like that we went from hiring one as a head coach to hiring one as a assistant within 4 years. How the mighty have fallen.
Big time.
Former Giant Rick Siebert has been named the 2023 Somerset County Coach of the Year for high school football. So congrats to him. Always a good player. Obviously part of the Eli Manning years of the offensive line there. Was a guy that was basically an afterthought and just did his thing and did it well. So good for him. Happy birthdays in order also for Deontay Banks, who yesterday turned 23 years old. Scary thing is, man, some of the guys in this draft are older.
Yeah.
Here's the really sad news. Ex-Giant offensive lineman Chad Wheeler. We talked about him before. He's been in trouble for domestic violence. He was sentenced to almost 7 years in prison, guys, on 2 counts of domestic violence.
Woof.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Next up, let's get into the NFL news here. Oh, yes. So first up, Broncos officially announced today they will be releasing Russell Wilson and another one of the no shit kind of things because we knew this. We talked about this for months now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why you pitch him.
Yeah. Chiefs placed the franchise tag officially on cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. The Dolphins will not be using the tag on Christian Wilkins, defensive tackle, which a lot of people thought they would. Jason Kelce confirmed his retirement today. Had a nice little speech and a whole like press conference and everything set up. Listen, we're Giant fans. We hate the Eagles. You gotta kind of root for Kelce to a certain degree. He seems like a legit guy.
Yeah, I mean, you have to respect his play as well. Like, and also, he's probably one of the top 3 guys I want to grab a beer with in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to see what happens to this offensive line with him gone. I don't think people realize how big and important he was as center because not only is he the best center in the league for many, many years, but he spotted a lot of things at the line. He was making adjustments all the time. That's gone, guys. If you don't think this offensive line with the Eagles will be much worse next year, wait till you see it.
Yeah.
Wait till you see it. Patriots have made an offer to safety Kyle Duggar that is rumored to be in the $13 million range. We said keep an eye on it because that might set the price for McKinney. So $13 million, I could live with that. That's not bad.
Yeah. McKinney.
I think McKinney will still go for more, but at least there'll be something go, nope. Duggar got this. That's what you get. You get this, and you like it.
This is what tough fight guys are getting. Sorry.
Exactly. The Bucks and wide receiver Mike Evans agreed today to a 2-year, $52 million deal. It was actually a rumor the Giants were going to be making a pitch for him. That'd have been interesting.
Yeah, I didn't see him moving from the Bucks. He's been there for so long, and
he doesn't want to leave there.
Yeah, he's going to go down.
He's a hero here. He's a hero in Tampa Bay. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's going to go down as one of the best Bucks ever to play the game,
if not the best. It's not there's many good Bucks, especially take out the Dungy years. Yeah, it gets worth them then.
Yeah.
Rumor is the Cardinals are willing to trade the number 4 pick. So I'm wondering, with all those rumors about JJ McCarthy moving up people's boards, does he go number 4? Do we have 4 quarterbacks go back to back to back to back?
Damn, that'd be a lot of quarterbacks real fast.
Seriously. Fletcher Cox also rumored to be leaning towards retirement. Ooh, not a good day for Eagles.
No.
49ers will promote passing game coordinator Nick Sorensen to DC, and also added ex-Chargers head coach to their staff as well. I mean, Brandon Staley, you know my hatred of him when he was the Chargers coach. Like, horrible coach. I don't understand why you want another horrible coach on your roster, but whatever. That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
That's what they're doing. The Commanders did a binge and purge, apparently, because they're leasing players left and right here. Logan Thomas, their tight end of like the last 30 years, gone. Charles Leno, the cousin of Jarrett Leno, gone. Nick Gates, also gone. So, yeah, they're making a lot of changes, guys. And I already hear Giants fans, should we bring back Nick Gates? Should we bring Nick Gates? Listen, I love me some Nick Gates. That man is a freaking awesome guy. He's not that good anymore, guys. I hate to say it that way. From a business standpoint, like, this says no, this says yes.
I get that.
Yeah. Like, there's a reason they cut him after 1 year, guys. So, Cowboys linebacker Leighton Vander Esch is expected also to retire. So many retirements to the NFC East. Ooh, maybe that's why Waller was like, wait a minute, the Giants don't have one. I can be that guy.
I could be your hero, baby. Yeah.
Texas wide receiver Xavier Worthy sets a new 40-time record at the combine of 4.21. Former record was 4.22. So, you know, my response is, big whoopty freaking do. 100th of a second. Stop. Ridiculous. That's 40 time. People make it such a big deal. By the way, the guy with the previous record, John Ross. Remember him? How good he do? Not very good, because he wasn't good. This doesn't matter. It's the Underwear Olympics, goddammit. Chris Mortensen, longtime NFL reporter, died this weekend at the age of 72. Condolences, obviously, to his family and friends and all there. I got to give a positive story after that. You know, I like to glance over the sad stuff and move on as best I can. A man in Detroit is being charged with attempted murder. I know it's like, yeah, moving on to a happy story. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, attempted murder. This
happy murders. Good. Yay.
Yes. After an attack at a locker room in a suburban Detroit YMCA. Police Chief Jeff King said it was a good Samaritan who stopped the vicious attack. That good Samaritan? Former Jet Braylon Edwards. So kudos Braylon Edwards for potentially saving a man's life. So not often you hear about good, guys doing that, good stuff after they retire. Usually it's like, well, this person got caught selling weed.
Yeah. Or, beat up his girlfriend, spend 7 years in prison. Yeah. Not that we heard that story.
It's been a couple minutes. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, again, we'll be back again Wednesday for you guys, going over, like I said, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, completing our saga here of the top quarterbacks in the NFL draft. So be there or be square. Remember, it's hip to be square, but not in this case.
It's hip to be square. Case.
So, I guess always we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter/X, Instagram, and of course Rob's favorite,
Drew's LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, my LinkedIn profile. It's fun. It's funny. You can see my technical skills and all that kind of stuff there as well. And of course, we're always on the audio podcast the next day, usually at 5:00 in the morning. There now, it's Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon, all the big ones we're on. We're going to do something a little different also with these videos as well. So if you're somebody who likes to draft like us, likes diving into these players, we're going to break these videos up as well. They'll be up on the YouTube for each individual player that we do as well. So that way, as things get closer to the draft, if you want to brush up on a specific player, or if we draft a guy and you want to hear about him, we'll have individual videos out for each of those guys. So, like I said, buckle up. If you were here last year for the draft, you know that we went through a lot. We did like top 20 in a lot of the positions.
We went crazy.
Yeah, it was like the 5th round by the time we stopped getting the people that we actually went over and gave profiles on. So we will be thorough again this year, guys. So we just want to start with the quarterbacks. And then next week, keep in mind free agency starts. So next week, we'll probably be doing free agency, and free agency. And then we'll go back into it from there. So keep an eye on the schedule there. We will be back again for you guys, like I said, Wednesday to complete the quarterbacks there. And then Thursday, we're going to start the top receivers. And, of course, that means we're talking the top 3 here. The Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Rome Odunze. So we'll see you guys then. Appreciate you guys as always for listening. And as always, Giant fans,
Go,
G-Man!
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 Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.